President Obama and Governor Romney.
In the first of 3 debates, President Barack Obama and Republican challenger Mitt Romney went toe-to-toe over domestic policy issues Wednesday in front of an American television audience estimated at nearly 70 million viewers. In a wide-open format structured within 6 15-minute segments, Romney and President Obama began with a litany of economic bullet points.
I'm not looking to cut massive taxes and to reduce the revenues going to the government. My number one principle is there'll be no tax cut that adds to the deficit. I want to underline that. No tax cut that adds to the deficit. But I do want to reduce the burden being paid by middle-income Americans. And to do that, that also means I cannot reduce the burden paid by high-income Americans. So any language to the contrary is simply not accurate.
For 18 months, he's been running on this tax plan. And now, 5 weeks before the election, he's saying that his big, bold idea is never mind. And the fact is that if you are lowering the rates the way you described, Governor, then it is not possible to come up with enough deductions and loopholes that only affect high-income individuals to avoid either raising the deficit or burdening the middle class. It's math. It's arithmetic.
But domestic energy production quickly entered both candidates' speeches and their respective verbal jabs.
On energy, Governor Romney and I, we both agree that we've got to boost American energy production. And oil and natural gas production are higher than they've been in years. But I also believe that we've got to look at the energy sources of the future, like wind and solar and biofuels, and make those investments.
Energy is critical, and the president pointed out correctly that production of oil and gas in the U.S. is up, but not due to his policies, in spite of his policies. Mr. President, all of the increase in natural gas and oil has happened on private land, not on government land. On government land, your administration has cut the number of permits and licenses in half. If I'm president, I'll double them and also get the oil from offshore in Alaska, and I'll bring that pipeline in from Canada. And by the way, I like coal. I'm going to make sure we can continue to burn clean coal.
Obama pivoted his energy discussion towards tax breaks, including those destined for oil companies.
The oil industry gets $4 billion a year in corporate welfare. Basically, they get deductions that those small businesses that Governor Romney refers to, they don't get. Now, does anybody think that ExxonMobil needs some extra money when they're making money every time you go to the pump? Why wouldn't we want to eliminate that?
The Department of Energy has said the tax break for oil companies is $2.8 billion a year. And it's actually an accounting treatment, as you know, that's been in place for 100 years. Now,
it's time to end it.
And in 1 year, you provided $90 billion in breaks to the green energy world. Now, I like green energy as well, but that's about 50 years worth of what oil and gas receives. And you say Exxon and Mobil. Actually, this $2.8 billion goes largely to small companies, to drilling operators and so forth. But you know, if we get that tax rate from 35% down to 25%, why that $2.8 billion is on the table. Of course it's on the table.
On the economy.
PBS NewsHour anchor Jim Lehrer stayed above the fray for much of the discussion, except to move each candidate along to the next question.
On that point, which
Just
is
these
small businesses we're talking about?
Excuse me, just so everybody understands, we're way over our first 15 minutes.
It's fun, isn't it?
It's okay, it's great.
That's
great.
okay.
No problem. Now, you all don't have a problem, I don't have a problem, because we're still on the economy. Very quickly,
let's get back to
before we leave the economy.
Let's get back to Medicare. The president said that the government can provide the service.
The format left Romney and Obama to interact back and forth over the role of government.
And what we're seeing right now is, in my view, a trickle-down government approach, which has government thinking it can do a better job than free people pursuing their dreams, and it's not working. And the proof of that is 23 million people out of work. The proof of that is 1 out of 6 people in poverty. The proof of that is we've gone from 32 million on food stamps to 47 million on food stamps.
As Abraham Lincoln understood, there are also some things we do better together. So in the middle of the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln said, let's help to finance the Transcontinental Railroad. Let's start the National Academy of Sciences. Let's start land-grant colleges, because we want to give these gateways of opportunity for all Americans, because if all Americans are getting opportunity, we're all going to be better off. That doesn't restrict people's freedom. That enhances it.
Political pundits and network instant polls identified Romney as a clear winner in Wednesday's debate, citing a crisp performance against the president. But critics of Romney signaled his distinct move towards the political center after this past year's Republican primary. 3 more debates, 2 presidential and 1 between the vice presidential candidates, will take place over the next 30 days, leaving many questions regarding the final outcome of the 2012 election until November 6th.